That's all prophesied. This is all coming out of the Bible. You know how people give heed to fables and doctrines of the devil? That's all coming out of the Bible. The Lord called all this stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to get into the Word of God, and hopefully today, you know, I had to get the pictures up here, so sometimes it's better to bring images out so people can, you know, actually follow along as opposed to me trying to draw it. Before we came here, you know, we was doing it at the house. Myself, Brother Jediah, we put it up on the board and try our best, but still we see puzzled eyes, and I think it was because of our drawing. So to save y'all from that, we just gonna give y'all some hopefully, and I do got one bad poster. It ain't these right here, I got it here right now. I got one bad poster, but y'all will get the point. So we're gonna get into it today, we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna find out, you know, what happened in Daniel chapter 2 as far as the vision that Nebuchadnezzar had. We're gonna find out Daniel chapter 7, you know, the vision that Daniel had, and then we're also gonna look at Revelation. You know, look at what John saw. Because when John saw the vision, he saw actually at the end pertaining to us in our time. But we also going to see that even in Daniel chapter 2, it's going to let us know about, you know, these kings that's going to be set up in the end. And it's going to welcome the coming of the Lord. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go and open up in Isaiah chapter 42. And I'm not going to move too fast today because I definitely want y'all to get it. We're not broadcasting from Israel Church of Jesus Live today. We are on the internet through Google+, but this allows me to kind of slow down. I don't have to go too fast. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's pick it up at Isaiah chapter 42 and start at verse 8.
I am the Lord. That is my name. And my glory will I not give to another.
That's right.
These are my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things will come to pass.
So notice what he say. He say, behold, that means to look or to see. He says, behold, the former things will come to pass. What else?
And new things do I declare.
So the Lord is going to tell us, and we know that the Lord that we serve, he's going to declare new things before they even happen, right? He said, and new things do I declare before what?
Before they spring forth, I tell you of them.
So this is the type of God we serve. Now you can look at, you know, you can look at all the different gods that the world worships today. And all these different doctrines or different gods that they serve, for the most part, a lot of them have, you know, different books that go with their doctrine. Like Islam, they believe in Allah. They got a book they call the Quran, which is a joke. We done read that too. It's just a mockery of the Bible. You know, but we're saying that if you go inside the Quran, you will be able to see that that book does not call any prophecies. It don't tell you things that's going to happen in the end like the Bible does. See, that lets you know we're dealing with the true and living God. The God we serve can call the end from the beginning. And that's why, you know, today, a lot of different things happen in the world and people want to try to pray about it and try to pray that the Lord have mercy and stop what's coming down the pipes and all that. Like people, you know, if you look around on the internet, you have people try to put a movement together to try to save America. You know, what can we do to take the country back? What can we do to take the world back? You know, they say, well, America done turned their back on God, so God done turned their back on America. Well, it's bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. What we're seeing is we're seeing the prophecies that the Lord has warned us about. We're seeing these prophecies starting to come to pass. So it ain't no coming back and getting together and trying to go, you know, they try to go build a what they call them, doomsday preppers and all that. You know, that's not going to save you. You know, it's all getting ready to come down. You know, but the Lord warned us about this before we even came into this situation. So now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 27 so we can get right into it. Jeremiah chapter 27. And we all know Jeremiah was a prophet. You know, sent forth by the Lord to warn the children of Israel, basically to tell them to turn from their ways. So Jeremiah chapter 27. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. You can go ahead and read, brother.
In the beginning of the reign of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord to me, make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck.
So the Lord is now telling Jeremiah, get some bonds and some yokes, All right, because anytime you look at bonds and yokes, you know, bond mean you like, you know, short for, that's where you get bondage from. You know, you put yokes. If you look at Israel, the Lord told us in Deuteronomy 28 that He's gonna put yokes of iron around our neck. So that's a form, a sign of you being, you know, in captivity. So notice what He say. He say, "Thus saith the," He says, "Thus saith the Lord unto me, make thee bonds and yokes and put them upon thy neck." So the Lord, through Jeremiah, is getting ready to show, you know, the ambassadors or the people that work for the nations that's coming up. And notice what He's going to tell them. Verse 3, and go ahead.
And send them to the king of Edom.
So send them to the king of Edom.
To the king of Moab. And to the king of the Ammonites. And to the king of Tyrus. And to the king of Zidon. At the hands of the messenger which comes to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah, king of Judah.
So all these guys that come with the messengers for these different countries, you know, it says, and send them to the king of Edom, to the king of Moab, Ammonites, the king of Tyrus, and by the hand of the messengers. So the messenger is going to take these back to these different kings in their respective places. So the messenger is going to bring back these bonds and yokes. All right, go ahead and read verse 4.
And command them to say unto thy master, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall you say unto your master.
So when y'all get back, tell y'all masters this. What?
I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power, and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemeth meet unto me.
Okay, so the Lord gonna give it. He let you know everything in this world belongs to Him. And I'm going to give it to who it seems fit for me to give it to. So now we getting ready to come up on this nation that the Lord is getting ready to bring up. And this nation that the Lord is going to bring up is going to be in power all the way to the coming of the Lord. All right, go ahead and read.
And now have I given it unto the lands, into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant.
That's right. So he called what? He called Babylon Nebuchadnezzar his servant. Not to say that Nebuchadnezzar is serving the Lord and keeping the Sabbath day and all that type of stuff. But he using, you know, this particular king to do his bid. All right, so he says, and I have given all these lands into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. So we talking about everything. All this stuff belongs to Nebuchadnezzar, right? All right, go ahead.
My servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him.
So the beasts of the field, that includes if you got cats, if you got dogs, if you got any. Matter of fact, you want to go fish, you got to get your license. You got a dog, you got to do what? Got to get him registered. Because it belongs to the king. Y'all understand? It don't belong to y'all. The Lord then gave this all into the power of Nebuchadnezzar. But who else does it belong to? Go ahead.
And all nations shall serve him, and his son,
Go ahead.
and his son's son, until the very time of his land come.
Okay, so his land, or the end of the Nebuchadnezzar and his dynasty, not going to end until the Lord return, which we're going to look at today. But notice what he said, because see, Nebuchadnezzar, he done died. So once he dies out, it's going to be passed on. That's why it says, and it said in verse 7, it says, and all nations shall serve him and his son and his son's son until the very time of his land come. So people like to say, well, why the white man still in power today? You know, why they still at the top, we at the bottom? Well, the Lord done put them in power systems, bro. So you can't, you know, you can come together with all, you know, have a lot of black guys or Israelites want to come together, and, you know, I used to do it, I ain't gonna lie. You know, I think me and the brother that went to Israel of God, he moved in with me. We was gonna move further out in Palmetto, further south. And we was gonna try to, you know, get an acre or two of land and try to get us a house and all that type of stuff, so we can till the land and all that type. But it ain't nothing you can do. You can try to do all that, but at the same time, it still belongs to who the Lord gave it to. All right, go ahead and read.
Middle 7.
Okay, middle 7. Just started it.
Okay. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword, and with the famine, and with pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand.
So regardless, no matter who you are, I don't care how big of a nation you are, you know, Kingdom, Edom and all that, and all these different ones, the Ammonites, all them kings, Tyrus, all y'all have to come up under the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. And if you don't, the Lord gonna take you out with the sword and with famine and with pestilence. Verse 9, and go ahead.
Therefore hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners,
Diviners.
not to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, you shall not serve the king of Babylon.
That's right. So what he telling them, don't listen to your diviners and your prophets and all that tell you that you don't have to serve the king of Babylon. All right, go ahead.
For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and you shall perish. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, said the Lord, and they shall till it and dwell therein.
That's right. So if you look around today, just think about it. You may have nations that are still in their land today. And we may think, these are mighty nations and they have their own, they got their own stuff and everything as far as where they live at, it belongs to them. Well, let something go down. Let something happen. Watch you see the Gentiles coming there by way of the United Nations and take it out. Letting you know that they're the one that run the whole thing. But just like the Bible says, if you come up under the yoke of them, he going to let you stay in your land. So that's just what's going on. They you have nations still inside their land and stuff like that because they came up under the yoke of Babylon. And then even Israel, he told Zedekiah, listen, man, pay attention to what's being prophesied. Don't try to disobey, because if you disobey, you're going out. And Israel definitely disobeyed. And they went into captivity. And this is why we not in our land today. What verse you at?
Yeah, verse 11.
All right, so now skip down to verse 16.
Also I spake to the priests and to all this people, saying, thus saith the Lord, hearken not to the words of your prophets that prophesy unto you, saying, behold, the vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon. But they prophesy a lie unto you.
That's right. So he says, hearken not to the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you, saying, behold, the vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon. So in other words, somebody come to the king Zedekiah in this stage, who we talking about. If they come to you telling you, you don't have to go nowhere, you can stay in the land, and the vessels that were taken out with the other tribes, they're gonna come back. So we don't have to go nowhere. He said, don't listen to them because they lying to you. Not only are the vessels going to stay away, but y'all Zedekiah going into captivity also. All right, go ahead and read.
Verse 17. Hearken not unto them, serve the king of Babylon and live. Wherefore should this city should be laid waste.
All right, skip down to verse 22.
They shall be carried to Babylon, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore them to this place.
Okay, so concerning the vessels of the Lord, he told them what? He said, don't listen to them. They tell you, that the vessels of the Lord are going to be brought back to the house. Because remember, if y'all know anything about the scriptures, the 10 tribes had already been carried into captivity. And some of the belongings of the vessels of the house of the Lord have been taken also. So he let them know, Zedekiah, don't listen to the prophets if they come to you telling you that you don't have to serve the king of Babylon and the vessels going to come back because they're lying to you. So when we're looking at verse 21, notice what the Lord said. He said, yeah, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of the Lord and in the house of the king of Judah and Jerusalem, they shall be carried to Babylon. So in other words, if you don't come up under the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, all this stuff is going into Babylon, and they shall be there, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up and restore to them this place. So keep in mind now, the Lord's vessels got taken out with Israel. That's why you look at Daniel chapter 5, and Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, was drinking out of those vessels, him and his, the different concubines, and, messing around with the different women and stuff, and they was drinking out of the vessels of the Lord. And that night, his kingdom was taken from him. But they still have these vessels today. Because when we get down to the end, we're going to see that the Lord going to come back, and he going to deal with them, not just for his land being parted, but for also because of his vessels that they took. All right, so now let's go a little further. Let's go on to Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. And we're going to look at, we saw that Nebuchadnezzar is the one that's going to come up and take, bring all the nations up under his rule. So now as we go into Daniel chapter 2, we going to see this, he had a dream, but he could not remember the dream. So he get ready to call his wise men and tell them to not only tell me what the dream is, but also give me the interpretation of the dream. So Daniel chapter 2, let's pick this up at verse 1. Go ahead and read, bro.
In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed the dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king of Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servant the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream, with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill.
Okay, so now, the king that had a dream, he got these sorcerers, he got these astrologers, the so-called wise men. Like for instance, in our time today, the so-called wise men of today, not dealing with the truth. We talking about like if Obama had a dream, he gonna go call his so-called wise men. Now he not coming to get us, even though we the wise men, really. Just like our forefather Daniel was. But he gonna go get his Osteen, he going to get Hagee, he going to get Creflo, Kenneth Copeland, he going to get the Pope. Well, now I ain't going to get the Pope. Pope is the king of the world. But he going to get all these wise men in America to have them interpret this dream for him. That's what we, had going on during this time. But they couldn't get the dream. They couldn't figure it out. So they trying to, they tell him, listen, king, just tell us the dream. If you tell us the dream, we can interpret it for you. But the king said, no, you supposed to be wise. You supposed to know everything. I got you on the payroll. So you need to tell me what I dreamed, and you need to interpret what I dreamed. And if you don't, your house going to be made a dunghill. Y'all know what dung is, right? It's going to be an outhouse, a place where they take dumps at. All right, so that's what's going to happen if y'all don't tell me the dream. So they was trying to buy time. But skip down to verse 12 because the king was upset at this point because they could not interpret or even reveal the dream. So verse 12, what does it say?
For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon.
Oh, so not only is he going to take out his wise men, but he going to get all the wise. That's like today, it's going to be a dragnet. Anybody that's teaching the word of God, whether they, wiser than the other, everybody that consider themselves wise, put the dragnet out and get all of them. And this is what's happening right here. That's why I say for this cause, the king was very furious, angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. Verse 13.
And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. And they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain.
See, he didn't consult Daniel regarding the vision. But he just going to put them all together in one lump. So they also sought to slay Daniel and his fellows. Go ahead and read.
Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king?
So he wanted to know why is it so hasty? What's going on? Somebody tell me why they trying to kill me. It's like, we don't know we don't know what's happening up in the White House. And all of a sudden a decree come out, tell us what's the deal, why they trying to kill us? Well, that's what's going on with Daniel here. Go ahead and read.
Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time and that he would show the king the interpretation.
Okay, so Daniel went back, he told his, he went and told Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They came into captivity with him. Some of us know them today as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Because their names were changed. They had their names in Israel. When they go into captivity, they changed the name. That's just like today. I'm over here in America, but I got a name. My last name is Leonard. But that come from the slave master. That's why a lot of brothers get up in the word, sisters get up in the word, and they change their name back to Israel. Because we, got some sense now knowing that that's the slave name. Well, that's what happened with Daniel. That's how you had, that's how you look at the scripture, say Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and then other places you're going to see this called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Because they got their names changed. They became property of the king. All right, well, go ahead and read. skip down to verse 24, because they went and prayed about it. The Lord gave them gave Daniel understanding on the dream, and then at that time, Daniel started professing things of that sort, letting us know that the Lord is the one that set up kings and take down kings. The secrets belong to the Lord, and He revealed them to men or whoever He want to give it to. But pick it up at verse 24. Go ahead.
Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation.
Okay, so now he got the vision. The Lord gave it to him. Now he ready to go to the king and tell the king what this dream was and also the interpretation. All right, go ahead and read.
Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah.
I found what?
A man of the captives of Judah.
So he found a slave. He found a slave from the tribe of Judah that's going to do what?
That will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, who art thou to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? So it says here, the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, that's a slave name. Alright? He says, are thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? Alright, go ahead and read verse 27, and then we're going to skip down to verse 31. Go ahead. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king?
So all the thing that you require, the magicians, the soothsayers, all these people that you done hired and put in this position to tell you things that you want to hear, they can't do it. This goes beyond what man can do. But just read 28, even though it's not on there.
But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar, which shall be in the latter days. Okay, so now this vision that he saw, when is it going to take place? In the latter days.
In the latter days. So what we're looking at in Daniel chapter 2, this is something that's going to happen in the end, sisters and brothers. All the way down to the latter day. Nebuchadnezzar not going to even be on the scene. Daniel not going to be here. So this is for the latter days during our time. This is why now everything started to come and understand. All right, go ahead and finish that.
And make it known to the the dream and the vision of thy head upon thy bed of these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into mind upon thy bed. What shall come to pass hereafter? Oh, so it's going to come to pass hereafter. Go ahead. And he that revealeth secrets, make it known to thee what shall come to pass.
All right, skip down to verse 31.
Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. His image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet of iron and part of clay, that saw till a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Okay, so now we just got a whole from in other words, we just got a statue here. And this statue here starts from the head all the way down to his feet. But we also see it down to, when it get down to the feet of this beast or the feet of this statue here, there's going to be a stone that's going to take it out. But we'll look a little further into that. Go on, skip down to verse 30, read verse 37. Thou, O king, art a king of kings.
Because now we're giving him the interpretation of the dream. All right, so we done seen it. We saw the king, the image head was of fine gold, right? Then we saw his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. So now he get ready to give him the interpretation on the image that he saw. So it says, thou, O king, art what?
Of the King of Kings. For the God of heaven has given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. Now remember in Jeremiah, we saw that the Lord was going to set Nebuchadnezzar up, right? And his son. All right, go ahead and read. And whatsoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven, has he given into thy hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. There are this head of gold. Okay, so now, it says what? Nebuchadnezzar is what? This head of gold, right? All right, that's Nebuchadnezzar. And that's Nebuchadnezzar, and all the beasts and all the fowls of the air belong to him, right? All right, y'all just pay attention to this image here. We'll look at everything else later.
All right, now let's go a little further. Let's read verse, where we at, 40? All right, 39, go ahead.
And after these shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
So notice what these are. These are kingdoms, right? This is what the king Nebuchadnezzar saw. These are actually kingdoms that he saw. Now the first kingdom started out with Nebuchadnezzar. This is the head of gold. Now notice this image here is all made of precious metals or different metals. You know, down to iron, that's not the same as gold and brass, and gold and silver and brass, but they're made up of precious metals, right? All right, so go ahead and read.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
So now we got the first kingdom, head of gold. The second one is arms, and read that. I think it's 40. What does it say?
And the fourth shall be strong as iron.
Now the second one, after the head of gold. I think it's his arms and breast, silver, right? Yeah, what is, give me the second, give me the one right after Nebuchadnezzar, after the head of gold.
Head of gold. His head of fine gold, his breast and his arm is silver.
Okay, that's 30.
32.
No, not that far, bro. 40, let's see here. 39, that's it, yeah. All right, so after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. So look at this, right? See this gold? Gold is more, you know, it's worth more than silver, okay? So the first kingdom gonna be, you know, a great kingdom. All right? If you look at the market today, you know, look at the metals on the market, you know, you got gold going from around $1,200 an ounce. But you got silver shooting around anywhere from 19 to 22, you know, and I know that because I collect silver. I ain't got enough money to get no gold.
Right.
It's too much money. But it's more. So notice how the beginning of this dynasty gonna jump off, but the beginning of this kingdom gonna start. It's gonna start with the head of gold. Then we're gonna come down to the next one that's gonna come right after it. It says arms and breasts are of silver, right? All right, what's after that?
And another third kingdom of brass.
Okay, so now we got the third kingdom, which is the brass. It's belly, what is it? It says, what verse you at?
39.
39? Okay, that's all in one verse. All right, so the third kingdom of brass, which will what? Which gonna do what?
Which shall bear rule over all the earth.
Okay, and this is what we're gonna look at later on, but we're gonna see how he started bearing rule over all the earth. So now we got the last one. Go ahead and read.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
Now the fourth one gonna be strong as iron. Now it's not gonna be a metal like, you know, like the other ones, as far as gold and silver and brass. But now we're going into iron. Now notice what it says. Go ahead and read.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas there saws the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as there saw the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Okay, so just like you see it, we're going to go down, once we leave out of this next kingdom, we're going to go down to this one right here. Nathan, get up and help Brother Harvey work that camera. As we go down from this right here, from this brass right here, we're going to go down to iron. And it's going to be strong for a while, but as we get down to it, see, this last one going to be destroyed at a set time, but it's still going to be in power for a little bit. This is why when we get to the end, it's mixed with iron and clay. Now, if it was just clay by itself, you know, it can just be destroyed, but it got iron mixed in it, letting you know that it's still in existence, in some way, shape, or form. All right, so now let's go a little further. Go ahead and read. Where you at? Verse 43. Go ahead. And whereas that sawed iron mixed with the miry clay, that shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another.
Okay, so these 10 now, in this last kingdom here, you got these 10 toes. They're going to be mixed with miry clay, but they're not going to mingle themselves with the seed of men. In other words, they're going to rule from their own respective places. They're not going to give their power one to another. All right, but you're going to have these 10 toes here, which is also a part of this last kingdom. Go ahead.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
Okay, so it says in the days of these kings, what's going to happen?
God of heaven.
Gonna do what?
Set up a kingdom.
So in the days of these kings, in the days of these 10 toes right here, right? The Lord gonna set up a kingdom. All right, so we got these 10 toes over here, right? Y'all pay attention to these 10 toes, because these 10 toes are supposed to be around when the Lord returns, right? All right, so y'all remember those. Now before we go further, let me just make sure we covered everything on this one. So just to recap on this right here, we got this right here, which is the beginning of the Gentile dynasty. This head of gold is Nebuchadnezzar. Once we go down into the arms and the breast of silver, this is the Medo-Persian Empire, which is Russia and Iran. Okay? Once we go from Russia and Iran, we go down to the bell and the thighs of brass. That's going to take us into Alexander the Great. Everybody knows about Alexander the Great, right?
Great.
Okay, or yeah, the Greek. They call him Great, but I call him Freak, and some people call him Greek. All right, because he was off the chain. All right, so now we got him. Then after him, the Roman Empire gonna come up, but they gonna come up a lot more powerful than the rest of them. But they gonna add something else, you know, to the another piece to the puzzle that's gonna cause them to be different than all of them before. Because all the ones before them, they ruled by military. Not to say that Rome not gonna rule you by military, but they gonna bring another piece to the puzzle that's gonna rule you in a totally different way. And this is what's gonna cause this kingdom, this Gentile dynasty, to be all the way around to the end. Now these 10 toes here, this is still Rome. But these 10 toes gonna come up at the end. Okay? And at the end, remember we saw this stone that was cut out. And this is why I'm recapping, just to bring it back so we can make sure we still on point. Now I just want to read to y'all something. It says in verse 44, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and they shall stand forever. But what's going to break it in pieces? What's going to break this dynasty down once God get back? Remember we saw a stone that was cut out, right? So let's go have a look at this stone. Let's go over to Luke chapter 20. Luke chapter 20. We're going to pick this up at verse 17. All right, verse 17, go ahead.
And he beheld them and said, what is this then that is written? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner.
Okay, so when you go back and read this, it's talking about the vineyard, who the Lord let it out and stuff like that, and he had different guys come trying to preach to them, you know, and when it all boiled down to it, he said, I'm going to send my son. Maybe that reference my son. But they ended up turning on him. So the question being asked, Jesus said, what you think the one who let out his vineyard going to do, you know, since you done took his son? Now, what you think going to happen at this point now? So he says, verse 17, now the Lord finna ask him a question. He said, and he beheld them and said, what is this then that is written? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. In other words, if you're going to build this church going to have to be built off this particular cornerstone. And this cornerstone is Jesus. All right, but this same one is the same stone that was cut out without hand. Read verse 18. Let's see why.
Whosoever shall fall upon that stone shall be broken.
Okay, so if you fall upon that stone, you're going to be broken. You're going to be, you know, you'll be made righteous if you fall upon the Lord. Humble yourself and that type of stuff. All right, but go ahead and read.
But on whomever so it shall fall, it will grind him to powder.
That's right. That's what he's going to do when he come back. He's going to grind these kingdoms to powder. That's why it was likened to a shaft on the summer threshing floors. Now let's go back over to, let's go look at the Atlas of the Bible. We're going to pick it up at page 146. We want to look at the time of when how these different kings came into power, or this Gentile dynasty. looking at the years when they came into power. All right. Yeah, just read the highlighted. And that's the Atlas of the Bible. We're looking at page 146 right now. All right, go ahead.
Nabopolassar's son, Nebuchadnezzar, proved more than equal to the task of governing such a domain during his long reign, 605 to 562. He was as capable of brutality as any Assyrian conqueror, as evidenced by the destruction of Jerusalem in 857 and the merciless treatment of the captured King Zedekiah. But he also showed tolerance toward the Jews deported to Babylonia, allowing them a large measure of freedom and treating their former king less as a prisoner than a guest of the court.
All right, let me hold this. I want y'all to chop this up. All right, so now what we're looking at, we're just looking at now what's getting ready to happen as Nebuchadnezzar get ready to come into power and get ready to take Babylon. Because it belonged to the Syrians and stuff like that before Nebuchadnezzar actually got it, okay? But as they begin to conquer this area, you know, it started going down real fast, and they didn't think they was going to have somebody that was going to be able to take this area, rule all of this. So now we got Nebuchadnezzar coming, and this is what it said: Nebuchadnezzar proved more than equal to the task of governing such a domain during his long reign. Now it says from 605 to 562 BC, this is when that kingdom was in existence, as far as Babylon goes, the beginning of the Gentile dynasty. Now it says he was capable of brutality as any Assyrian conqueror, as evidenced by his destruction of Jerusalem in 587 and the merciless treatment of the captured King Zedekiah. But he also showed tolerance toward the Jews deported to Babylon, allowing them a large measure of freedom and treating their former king Jehoiakim less as a prisoner than as guests of the court. But the power and glory of Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon was not destined long to outlive him. In the 7 years following his death in 562, the throne was occupied by 3 successors before it was seized by Nabonidus. His erratic reign of some 17 years will provide the final chapter in the empire's short history, for Babylon no longer possessed the unity or the will to defend itself. So now you got him dying around let's see here. He died around 562. Minus 7 years, that'll bring us to 555. All right, then minus 17, that's going to take us to 538. Okay, give or take a year. So this is when Babylon falls, right? When Babylon falls, now we got the Medo-Persian Empire, which is going to come up next, and it's going to come up in 539. All right, so this is on Cyrus coming in. Now it says a major new threat appeared in the person of Cyrus, king of the Persians. It says by about 550, the Medes had been conquered. Okay, they were conquered by Cyrus, all right? Around 550. Okay, and it says within a scant few years thereafter, Cyrus' domain reached westward to include Asia Minor. It was inevitable that he should soon turn his gaze toward Babylon. In 539, he did. So in 539, so we see the Lord giving us the Bible and how it's going to all come into play. But we're looking at it. Nebuchadnezzar and his sons was in power first. Once they came out of power, then we see Cyrus coming up next. Now, as far as the years go, it may be a little, give or take 2 or 3 or maybe 10 years. But the point is that they actually came in succession like the Lord said they were going to come in succession. So now we got Cyrus coming up in 539, right? Then it says, in 539 he came, brushing aside a paltry resistance. The Persians reached the gates of the capital and entered unopposed. Now y'all remember when Belshazzar was drinking out of the vessels in Daniel chapter 5. Go back and read that when you get a chance. When he was drinking out of the vessels, that night the kingdom was taken from him. There wasn't no fighting there like that. The kingdom was just taken from him. That's why I say here, they reached the gates of the capital and entered unopposed. There wasn't no fight. The Babylonian era was over. For the next 2 centuries, the world of the Bible would belong to Persia. So now we got from 539 to 331 BC. That's 2 centuries, right? All right, so this is according to the Atlas of the Bible. Now, let's go see what happens when, and I'm not going to really go into the fall of Persia and all that, but I just want to show you that Alexander came up next. So I'm going to look at something here. I'm going to go into the back of Atlas of the Bible, the same book, it's 2:11, and I just want to give it to you so we keep on moving through it. It says about Alexander.
I'm sorry.
It says Alexandria, Egypt's capital and most important city in Hellenistic and Roman times, founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BC, right? That's what it say, doesn't it? Can y'all see that? Yeah. It was founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BC. So we see in the succession starting from Nebuchadnezzar all the way down to Alexander. All right, so in 331 BC, that's when he came, right? So I wanted y'all to see this to show y'all that even during the time when our forefather Paul was on the scene, we gonna see that Alexander the Great had already came. Egypt was named, or like it says, Egypt's capital and most important city in Hellenistic and Roman times, founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BC. All right, so that's when he came up. Now Rome is in power. You know, and they fell, but Rome is in power now. So now let's go into Acts chapter 27 when Paul comes on the scene. Because the reason for me just showing y'all that is to show y'all that the Bible actually is just not some, symbolism like people like to think. They like to go on Daniel, they like to go on Revelation and say, well, it's just symbolism. Now the Lord don't do stuff just to give you symbolism. He's doing stuff to show you, but you just have to keep reading to get understanding on what it is. All right, so let's look at Acts chapter 27. We're just going to look at 2 places here. Acts 27. And remember, right, Alexandria belonged to Alexander the Great. Okay, so Acts 27 and verse 6. Go and read that one verse.
And there the Syrian found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us therein. So Alexander was before Paul's time, right? Mm-hmm. That's why there was a ship, that they found of Alexandria selling into Italy. So let's go a little further. Let's go with Acts chapter 28. And everybody learns about Alexander in school. So we can believe Alexander, we can believe that he existed, right? Mm-hmm. So we can believe that, then we got to believe that the Bible is the truth. Because see, this was even called before our history books came into existence. The Lord even told us this stuff is going to happen. Matter of fact, we're going to look at it a little further though. But Acts 28 and verse 11. Go ahead and read. And after 3 months we departed in a ship of Alexandria.
They did what?
They departed in a ship of Alexandria.
Oh, so they departed in a ship from Alexandria. Remember, Egypt, a city in Egypt, capital of Egypt, was changed to Alexandria. It still exists today, sisters and brothers. So Paul letting you know, this is the ship that we got into, one of the ships from Alexandria. Okay, go ahead and read. Just finish that.
Which had wintered in the Isles, whose sign was Castor and Pollux.
All right, now let's go back over to Jeremiah chapter 4, because we're going to get into, we're going to walk over to Daniel chapter 7. But I just wanted to show y'all, I wanted y'all to see that this stuff actually happened. And you may have different accounts as far as the time frame and stuff like that, but you definitely gonna have it come in that exact order like the Lord said it was gonna happen. I mean, like He said it was gonna happen. Starting with the Gentile dynasty, the head of that Gentile dynasty. Remember, the Lord told him he was the head. In other words, he is the head of that image. See, it's all put together because no matter what, even when his head falls off or when he dies, then he's still going to go into this right here. Then we're going to go into this right here. Then we're going to go all the way down to the feet and toes, the legs, feet, and toes. But it's all a part of one body. So this Gentile dynasty, or this dynasty, going to rule all the way to the end. All right, so now where are we at? Jeremiah chapter 4. Jeremiah 4, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
If thou wilt return, O Israel, said the Lord, return unto me. If thou wilt put away thine abominations out my sight, then shall thou not be removed. And shall thou swear, the Lord liveth in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness, and the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. But thus saith the Lord, to break the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow swords, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns.
Right, so the Lord trying to give Israel a chance, before he send them out. He tell them to break up your fallow ground and, just turn back to the Lord, and I won't send you away. I won't send you into captivity. You go a little further, I think around 17. I think it's Jeremiah 17. Where the Lord was even telling Israel, they had got to the point, they had got so bad, he just put on the table, just keep the Sabbath day. Keep the Sabbath day, then we can work from there. So the Lord had compromised himself. They had already broke everything else, but he was just like, just keep the Sabbath day, then we can work from this point on. But Israel couldn't do that. So we see the Lord, trying to warn them through the mouth of Jeremiah. So what are they going to say, verse 4?
Circumcise yourselves to the Lord. And take away the foreskins of your heart.
See, it's more than just physical circumcision. That's why Paul was letting you know you can be circumcised, but if you don't keep the law, then your circumcision is counted for nothing. Okay. But we see it even in the Old Testament. Notice what he said. He said, circumcise yourselves to the Lord and take away the foreskins of your heart. Go ahead.
Ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doing.
That's right, go ahead.
Declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land. Cry, gather yourselves and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the defense cities. Set up the standard towards Zion. Retire, stay not, for I will bring evil for the north and great destruction. So the Lord getting ready to bring evil from the north. We're going to find out who this is. So he said, I'm getting ready to bring evil from the north and a great destruction. Verse 7, what it say? The lion has come up from his thicket. Oh, so now we got a lion getting ready to come into the picture. He said the lion is coming from his thicket, and who is it? And the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. Oh, so now we get Nebuchadnezzar. This is the beginning of the Gentile dynasty getting ready to come into power. So he say the lion is coming from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He what? He is gone forth from his place and make the land desolate, and that city shall be laid waste without inhabitants. All right, so now let's go into Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. Let's go into this other beast that Daniel tells us about. But this is when Daniel had a dream. Now you're going to write the sum of the matters, but let's pick this up at verse 2. Well, let's start at verse 3. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 3. Go ahead and read, brother. And the great beast came up from the four great beasts. The four great beasts came up from the sea. That first one from another. The first is like a lion. Okay, so we got these four great beasts coming up from the sea. We just talking about coming up from among the people. Alright? And he said the first was like a lion. Now remember, we saw the lion that's come up from his thicket, right? The destroyer of the Gentiles. So now we got this lion. He said the first was like a lion that had what? It had eagle's wings. So we got this first one right here, right? It's kind of small. But you know, this lion right here got the eagle's wings on. This is the first one that's coming. Go ahead and read. I beheld to the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet of as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Okay, now when you go back and read about Nebuchadnezzar, he got kind of puffed up and was, made it seem like he was the one that put the kingdom together and all that type of stuff. So the Lord mainly humbled him. Made him go out to the wilderness like a beast for 7 years. And when he came back, then he knew who the true and living God was. That's why I said a man's heart was given to it. At this point, he wasn't bucking no more. All right, but see, also on this side, you can't see it right here, you can see it right here, all right? Because see, this also lined up with Daniel chapter 2. See, Nebuchadnezzar saw it here, now Daniel seen it. And what he's saying right here, he's saying a lion with eagle's wings. All right, go ahead and read. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it was raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it. Okay, so now we got the next one. The next one that came up right after this one, we see this bear right here, right? And he got 3 ribs in the mouth of it. Go ahead and read. Between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. That's right, go ahead. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Okay, so y'all see this one right here? This is the leopard, got 4 wings of a fowl, and what else? The beast had also 4 heads. Okay, so it also got 4 heads. So after class, if y'all want to come look at it, you can see it a little closer. But it got 4 heads on it, got the 4 wings on it, okay?
Then it's on that side also, but go ahead.
And dominion was given to it.
Uh-huh.
After this I saw in the ninth vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Okay, so now we down to this last beast. This last beast here was the dreadful and terrible beast, so much so that it couldn't be likened to an animal. All right, but if you notice what it said, it had 10 horns. All right, so we got these 10 horns right here, right? Go ahead and read.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
Okay, so now we got 10 horns, right? Look at these 10 horns here. Y'all see these 10 horns? Then we got another little horn that's gonna come up. I made that face because he deceiving the world and they can't even catch it. He think it's funny. All right, but see, we got 10 horns right here, right? That's on the last one. You know, the dreadful and terrible beast that had no name, it had 10 horns. So these are the 10 horns. I put it on the side here. And that's the other little horn that came up. Go ahead and read.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Okay, so now in this horn, he had eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things, right? All right, so what we gonna do? It said that he plucked up 3 of those horns, right? All right, so we gonna just cross them out. And that's gonna leave us with how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But we still got this other horn sitting right here, right? All right, y'all remember that. We still got him because he's different than the rest of them. But we still got him, and he plucked up 3 horns. The Uralions, the Ostrogoths, and the Vandals. Go ahead and read.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool.
Okay, now skip down to verse 15. Now that's talking about all the way down to the end, you know, when the Lord comes.
I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this.
That's right, so he wanted to know what all this was. Now this angel, the Lord is getting ready to let him know what this vision was he saw. Go ahead and read.
So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the thing. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. Okay, so now we just coming back to Daniel chapter 2. That's really what we're doing. These great beasts are 4 kings, really kingdoms. Not kings as far as like 1 king, 2. No, these are actually 4 kingdoms. But they still a part of, they still one. It started with the Gentile dynasty. Now before we came here, the way you know it's one, because the Lord told him that he was going to be the head of it, right? He's going to be the head of what? Just the head just floating out there? No, he's the head of the body, right? So the body is hooked together. So we got this right here running together and these right here coming up, you know, that Daniel's now seeing. And these are 4 kings that's going to rise out of the earth. All right? That's why I say among coming up from the sea or the people. But go ahead and read. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I know the truth of the 4th beast. So he wanted to know the truth of the 4th beast. Because it was different from the rest of them. So he said, I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which what? Which was diverse from all the others. So why was he diverse from all the others? All the other beasts ruled you by military. This last beast is going to not only rule you military, but he's finna get you spiritually. So what we going to do is to make this so we can understand this, even down when we get to Revelation, because he's still going to be in the picture. All right, so we just going to put religious next to him. All right? Going to be considered a religious horn. Okay? All right, go ahead and read. Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the others which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things. Okay, hold that right there. Let me see something. Let me get this off. Because we're going to see these, we want to move these 3 that got plucked up. So those 3 are plucked up, right? I'm going to have to put one more in there. All right, so he plucked up 3 of the horns, right? That means we got 7. Okay?
All right, so read that verse again.
And the 10 horns that were in his head,
So he had 10 horns in his head before we erased those 3. Go ahead.
and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Okay, so his look was more great than his fellows, the ones that was before him. This kingdom here this beast right here was a lot more greater than the other ones, because he gonna get you a totally different way now. All right, so we got the other 3 that was plucked up, that left us with 7, right? All right, and then we still got him existing. Now let me do something here. Why do that at the end? I'm not gonna do it right now. Go ahead and read. Verse 23.
That's verse 1.
Okay, go ahead.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints.
Okay, he said, I beheld, and look, and the same horn made war with the saints. This horn right here, the one that plucked up the 3, this same horn, this religious horn, he gonna make war with the saints. Because he gonna be around at the end. Y'all heard of the Great Tribulation, right? Well, he gonna be the one that's, behind the Great Tribulation. He the one that's gonna cause all this stuff to come down on the world. Go ahead and read.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them.
Where you at? I'm sorry, where you at? Okay, 22. All right, go ahead.
Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
You know why? Because remember now, he made of iron, right? Yeah, so iron is going to break in pieces now. All right, and what else? Verse 24.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
So the 10 horns out of this last kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. Y'all ever heard of the Roman Empire rising and falling 10 times? All right, well, this is what we're looking at. All right, but go ahead and read. We still got one more to come. We ain't going to look at it right now. But he said, the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and what?
And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
That's right. So we did that. We went on to subdue those 3 kings, and this other one came up. All right, so he came up, took down those 3, right? But he's diverse from the other ones. Now this kingdom here, we got military rule and we got religious rule. All right, go ahead and read.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Oh, see, this is why he's different than the rest of them. See, the other ones didn't care about that religion. This one right here, now he cared about religion. This is why he's speaking great words against the Most High. Because he's getting you a different way. And one of the best ways to rule people is to get them here. If you get them here, that's like you can take, that's why you think pimps are so successful. Just think about it. You just, you beat them down, and it's just by talking. Make them feel like they ain't done, then they go start working for the pimp. Go ahead and read, brother.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given to his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time.
So he gonna wear out the saints of the Most High and think to change times and laws, which we see he doing some of those things. He's been doing that for a while. That's how we got Sunday worship. So that's been going on for a while. It's just gonna pick up. But he gonna think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, which is 1 year, and times, which is 2 years. So 2 plus 1 is what? 3 and a half a time. That's gonna give us a total of 3.5 years, correct?
That's right.
Okay, go ahead and read.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it until the end.
So eventually it's gonna be destroyed. Go ahead and read, bro.
And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole earth, heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all his dominion shall serve and obey him.
And that's talking about Jesus when he get back. But go ahead and finish that.
Hitherto is the end of the matter.
So this is the end of the matter. What? With all this you dreamed, all this you saw, this is the end of the matter. Go ahead.
As for me, Daniel, my congregation must trouble me, and my confidence changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart.
And now today, if you look around, now the Lord is giving it to us because it was for our time. We're going to Matthew chapter 24. Let's go have a look at this little horn. Matthew chapter 24. My goal is just to teach it slow, so we can understand this. Because I get tired of walking away. Not to say everybody gonna get it. This is why this is the whole purpose of us doing it. But for people that we've been dealing with for a while, and y'all still don't understand it, well, evidently, we have to break it down a little bit slower and take our time. So I figured we'll bring the pictures in. Because see, I can understand it. Jediah can understand it. Brother Chris, DeMarcus, we may understand it, but it's a different story, bringing what we understand to you all. You see, so that's hard whether y'all know it or not. That's hard to do. So this is why I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. And if we don't understand it, this is why right after class, Jediah gonna be doing Bible study, and then we have question and answer. So, but we're not gonna get it all in one day. The point is, we still have to bring this stuff to life. But Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3, and this is when the Lord, when they came to Jesus showing him the temple, they was, happy about the temple and stuff like that they had, rebuilt. And the Lord letting them know, see, now all this stuff going to be destroyed. And they come to Jesus asking him, when shall these things be? What shall be the sound of your coming and the end of the world? So the Lord is getting ready to let them know when it's going to happen. So go and pick it up at verse 3 and go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him proudly, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of their coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them,
Now hold on. Notice what he said now. They asked him, what should be the sign of your coming, right? And the end of the world. All right, not the end of the world in Israel.
Right.
Not the end of the world in Jerusalem. We talking about the end of the world for mankind. The life that we've been living, all this stuff that we know, all this stuff gonna come to an end. So this is what Jesus, getting ready to answer them based on the question, the end of the world. All right, so go ahead and read. Pick it up at verse 11, because he gonna tell them, he gonna tell them, take heed that no man deceive you. Many gonna come in my name saying I'm Christ. It's gonna be earthquakes in diverse places and all that type of stuff. But skip down to verse 11. Let's see what the Lord said again. Go ahead.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
Oh, so it's a lot of false prophets gonna rise and gonna deceive many. And this is how you know we coming to the end of the world. They're everywhere. They're like gnats. People like us. But they're everywhere, sisters and brothers. So it said, many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Go ahead and read verse 12.
Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved.
Go ahead. So you got to endure to the end, right? Now you're not saved now, as just like some doctrines we deal with, as far as dealing with brothers that try to come against us in the word. They feel like they saved. That's why the world think they don't got to keep no commandments. They feel like they just went to the altar, called on Jesus, and that's it. They done. Now the book just say you got to endure to the end, right? That's why I say, but he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Go ahead and read verse 14.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
So ain't nobody gonna have no excuse. It's gonna be a witness unto all nations. The Lord gonna allow this word to get out all over the world. That way you can't say the Lord is unjust in his judgment. He said, then the end gonna come. But what it say in verse 15?
Where ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. Whoso read it, let him understand.
Okay, he said, now when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, whoso read, let him understand, right? But it was spoken of by Daniel the prophet. And we got to go back and look at it. But we're going to keep going a little bit, then we're going to jump over there. All right, but go ahead and read verse 21. Let's see what's going to happen at this time.
For then shall be great tribulation.
So when you see this abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, now we're around, we at the time of the great tribulation. This is why it says, for then shall be great tribulation. What else?
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
All right, so when you see the abomination stand in the holy place, now you know we are at the great tribulation. But we need to find out about this little horn, or we need to find out about this abomination of desolation. Abomination just means abhorrence or disgust. All right? Desolation means to destroy. Devastation or ruin. So now let's go into Daniel chapter 11, because that's what the Lord told us to do, right? So much for the Old Testament being done away with.
That's right.
Daniel chapter 11. We're going to pick this up at verse 31. Remember he said, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Whoso read, let him understand. Let's go read what Daniel said about this abomination of desolation. Daniel chapter 11 and pick it up at verse 31. Go ahead, bro.
And arm shall stand on this part.
Oh, so arms gonna stand on his part. See, now we understanding how he gonna stand in the holy place. These armies gonna come on his behalf and stand on his part. In other words, they come in there to move everybody out the way. Netanyahu, now you got to move, bro. Whatever leader come up in Israel at this time, his armies are coming in there to take them down. But it says an arm's gonna stand on his part and what?
They shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. They shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that make it desolate.
Okay, let me come back here. All right, read that again from the top. I was trying to find it. Go ahead and read it again.
And arm shall stand on his part. And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength.
So the military gonna come in, the army's gonna come in on this part. They gonna pollute the sanctuary of strength, right? That's the first thing they gonna do. They gonna get everybody out the way. What else they gonna do?
And shall take away the daily sacrifice.
So they gonna stop the daily sacrifice because they getting ready. They trying to bring this daily sacrifice back. But this army's gonna come over there and stop the daily sacrifice that's gonna be done by the so-called Jews. We know them as Esau. They're gonna start sacrificing animals again. This is what we're looking for. But see, this is all in the word of God for a reason. Remember, he called the end from the beginning. The former things he show you things that to come, or he declared things to you that have not even came to pass yet. So he said they're going to pollute the sanctuary strip and shall take away the daily sacrifice. So they're going to stop the daily sacrifice, and then what they going to do?
They shall place the abomination that make it desolate.
And they're going to place the abomination that make desolate. This starts the Great Tribulation. At this point, you should already be at the set place at the set time. It's too late to run now. You can't run when the Great Tribulation starts. You got to run when you see them getting ready to come and stop the sacrifice. When you see them getting ready to, like you say, when arms stand on this part, they're going to pollute the sanctuary strength and all that. You know what? As a matter of fact, you can go into Luke chapter 21, and the Lord even gave them a warning. He told them when it's time for you to flee. He said, when you see Jerusalem compassed round about with armies, right? Know that the desolation thereof is not. See, the same thing gonna happen at the end. Don't wait for the Pope to get in the seat. When you see the armies come, now you know it's time for you to run. Because by the time he get up in power, it's too late. That's the start of the Great Tribulation. All right, so now go ahead and read, brother.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
So the people that know their God, they gonna be the ones that's calling this stuff out. Oh, he lying to y'all, man. Don't believe what he say. Oh yeah, y'all seen that statue walking, talking, all that, man. It's a bunch of BS, man. The Bible tell you he's gonna do. That's what it means. They're going to do exploits. What else? Verse 33.
And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days.
Go ahead.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help. But many shall cleave to them with flattery. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them right. Even to the time of the end, because it is yet for an appointed time.
That's right, for a time appointed. That's right, go ahead. So in other words, a lot of people going to end up getting killed during the time of the Great Tribulation. And then people that call themselves cleaving to the Word of God or turning to the Word of God, well, they going to see brothers who going to end up, and sisters that's going to get killed for the Word of God, and they going to have to make a decision. They going to have to make a decision. Do I really want to serve this God? Do I really want to do this? Because if I got to do it, that means I got to die too. And this is why I always try to make sure we understand the point that this is called the purging. The Lord is purging. That's why he said it in verse 35. Read verse 35 again.
And some of them understanding shall fall, to try them and to purge.
Right, so don't be, moved by the movie to purge. That ain't nothing compared to what the Lord gonna do. The Lord got a real purge coming on. It ain't gonna be from 6 o'clock in the evening to 6 in the morning, 12 hours. It's gonna be 3.5 years. That's going to be a real purging right there. And all this is done really because you want to serve other gods. The Lord going to give you that time to do it. So go ahead and read. Verse 36.
And the king shall do according to his will.
And the who?
And the king shall do according to his will.
So why the Bible calling him a king? Because see, the king, he became a king here, and now as he goes down, his son still out of his lineage, he a king now. They the king. That's why when, that's like I like to tell people, everybody like to give props to Obama like he's some, no, the king of the world is the Pope. That's the king of the world. That's the one who called the shot. How can you have two nations fighting against one another? You got, I think his name Mahmoud Abbas from Palestine. Then you got Netanyahu going against one another, but you had a Pope come in there and call them to come together and pray, and they do it? That's a king. That's a king right there. Obama can't do that. So the book said, and the king shall do according to his will, and what else?
And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every God, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods,
Go ahead.
and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done.
All right, skip down to verse 41. And like you say, for that is determined shall be done. That's why I said earlier, it ain't no praying that'll get you out of it. Ain't nothing that's already set in stone. It's already got to happen. The Lord already called it. That's why the Lord can't come back tomorrow. When we was in these Sunday churches, they used to say things like, the Lord can come back. You need to get saved now because the Lord can come back as soon as you, in the next hour or something. He can come back before church over with. Now, that's not true. The Lord ain't going to do nothing like that. Lord, matter of fact, he giving you fair warning to get yourself together. Go ahead and read, brother.
He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand.
Go ahead.
Even
So we see that he gonna enter into the glorious land. We're gonna look at that a little further and see what this actually is, where he gonna go at. Then it says, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. After class and Bible study, if y'all want to know why, we'll tell y'all why they gonna get out of it. But go ahead and read verse 42.
he shall stretch forth his hand.
I'm sorry, verse 45. What he gonna do?
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas.
Oh, so he gonna plant his tabernacles between the seas, and we gonna find out where this is. Go ahead and read.
In the glorious holy
And
mountain.
we're gonna find out what this mountain is. Go ahead.
Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help.
So when it's all said and done, it's all gonna fall. All this gonna come to an end. All right, but we're gonna look at that. Let's go on to Psalms chapter 48. Psalms chapter 48. We're gonna pick this up at verse 1. Go ahead and read. We're just gonna look at this mountain. Verse 1. Go ahead.
Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness.
Go ahead.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, on the side of the north, the city of the great king.
Okay, and this way he gonna try to put his place at. This way he gonna set his so-called kingdom up at. Not, in actually the place, but we know in Revelation, I think it's 11, if I'm not mistaken, they tell you that they're gonna set up the court of the Gentiles, right outside of the, where they fighting over now. But they're gonna put it up in the court of the Gentiles. But just in the land alone, Mount Zion, that area, this is where he gonna set his place up at. All right, but this is, like it says, great is the Lord and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness, beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion. On the sides of the north, the city of the great king. So let's go see who else want to put want to set up in the sides of the north. Let's go over to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. Because when you see who else want to set up in the sides of the north, then you know that the desire that this little horn got really come from Satan the devil. Isaiah chapter 14. Verse 12. When you get it, you can go ahead and read, brother.
How thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning.
Okay, so we know Lucifer means light running, but it's just Satan that got cast out of heaven. So the question on the table, how have you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Go ahead.
how art thou cut down to the ground, for dead wicked the nation?
That's right, go ahead.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I would have said into heaven.
That's right, that's what he got everybody saying. That's how you know his spirit is still out today. You know, anybody that talk about they dying, going off to heaven and all that type of stuff, that comes from Satan.
Yep.
Satan want to go back to where he got cast out of. Man, you come from the dirt. That's where you go back to when you die. Until judgment. Or until you make this first resurrection when the Lord returns. But until that time, Satan is the one that's trying to go back. And everybody that follows Satan, you can tell they follow him because they spitting out the fruit that they eating. The same exact thing that Satan want to do, they want to do it. So it says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will do what?
Ascend into heaven.
I will ascend into heaven. What else?
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation.
So he gonna sit upon the mount of the church. See, this belongs to a church. This area here, it's called Israel. The Lord promised it to Israel. So he said, I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the what?
Of the north.
In the sides of the north. And that's where the Pope gonna plant his place at. But if you notice, he not doing this of his own will. He getting this all from Satan. Because that's where Satan want to go. That's how he want to sit just like the Lord. He think he got cast out. But that's why the book say he gonna do what? It says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. So he want to be in that position. But even the Bible calls him what? The God of this world. So he trying to take on the same characteristics of the Lord, but he going to work behind the Pope. And we going to look through that. We going to look through that and find out that this whole dynasty has been getting their power from Satan. Ever since they were set up. All right, so now let's go a little further. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Revelation 13 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Okay, so now, we have Revelation 13, right? We have this last beast right here. Okay? You notice the last beast. It says, what was the, read it again for me.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
So it got the body like a leopard, right? Can y'all see this? Got a body like a leopard. This is Revelation 13. This is the whole thing composed of together now. See, we see it all in these different things. Here, we see it all, you got Nebuchadnezzar, the lion, then you got the bear with the Medo-Persian Empire, then you got Greece with Alexander the Great, the leopard, and the 4 heads. The reason why I got the 4 heads, because when Alexander the Great died off, then you had his 4 generals come up in his stead. So after they died off, now you got the Roman Empire, right? So this is what Daniel saw. This is what Nebuchadnezzar saw, right? So now we at the end. Now John has a vision. And what John sees this beast. But this beast, let's see how this beast is put together now. So read that one more time.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Okay, so now you see this leopard, because it still got this piece in it. It still has that piece to it. So you see this beast right here, like a leopard. Go ahead.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
So notice his feet right here. His feet as the feet of a bear. See? All right, go ahead and read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
And his mouth is the mouth of a lion, not the head, but the mouth is the mouth of a lion, because that's going back to Nebuchadnezzar, right? Go ahead and read.
And the dragon gave him power.
And the dragon gave him power. The dragon gave him power. The dragon is Satan the devil. Okay? That's who the dragon is. Gave him his power. Go ahead.
And his seat. And great authority.
Go ahead.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
But did you read the last part of that? Okay, you said, I'm sorry, we didn't look at it. It said having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. So now we at the end of this, right? And it got 10 horns. Let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we got 10 horns on this, right? Now keep in mind, we're in Revelation. All right, we're at the last book of the Bible. And what we see now at the end, we see another 10 horns. It ain't these horns because this one here, remember, he plucked those 3 horns up, right? So now we got another 10 horns here. Okay? So we gonna see what this is. Go ahead and read, bro.
Verse 4.
Uh-huh.
And they worshiped the
Let's
dragon.
start at verse 3.
And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Okay, so notice what it said in verse 3. It says, and I saw one of his heads, because we talking about, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto the left, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him to see his power and his power and his seed and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, right? So now, when you look at this right here, right? These 7 horns here at the end, y'all can see these 7 horns right here? All right, so now, the reason why I didn't want to, I'm going to move these out. Look at these right here. Can y'all see this bottom right here? All right, when you look in the history books, right?
Thank you.
All these right here, they've already failed, except one. All right, we got one more that's going to come right here. But what we're going to do for now, we're going to go to Revelation 17 look at it. All right? We're going to come back on. I'm going to cross those out for now so y'all can just see that. Go ahead and read. And we'll come back to it. It says 3, and I saw one of his hands as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Now, out of the 7 heads and 10 horns, the 7 heads represent all of these, right? But one of these heads was wounded to death, which was the Roman Empire. It didn't actually die, though. Okay? It was wounded to death, but it's still here. All right, go ahead and read. It says, and they verse 4, and they worshiped the beast. Verse 4.
And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Okay, so we still got this last one. We still got this, this head that was wounded now, but it was healed. But it's still a part. The reason why you seeing 7 at the end, because we got some of y'all may know it now. The first one we got is what? Nebuchadnezzar, right? That's 1. Then we got the Medo-Persian Empire. That's number 2, right? Then we got the Greek Empire, right? But it's Alexander the Great, right? But he died, so you have 4 more come up in his stead, so that takes us to 6, right? Then we had the last one, which is 7, which is the Roman Empire, right? All right, so all of them are gone. But still, at the end, he's seeing all 7 of them on this beast, because they still, like this man here, they still all one and the same. But now the 7th head, it said, I saw one as it was wounded to death, because everybody thinks now that Rome is not in existence anymore. Everybody think Rome is dead, but it's coming back together. How is it being healed? By way of the European Economic Community. So that's the 7th head that you see him being healed, okay? All right, now let's go a little further. Let's go on to verse, notice what he said in verse 5. He said, there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and power was given unto him to continue, what? 42 months. That's 3.5 years, right? All right, go ahead and read. Verse 6. Read that again. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Okay, now skip down to verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay, so now, we got this first beast. All right, we got this first beast, and I'm laughing because when y'all see it, y'all gonna laugh. But he said, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. It's still the same one. John, he's seeing this right here.
Okay? But he also seeing something else. But it's still the same thing. Now what he's seeing is, he's seeing this beast coming back to power, but he also seeing now, you know, another beast. This other beast got two horns like a lamb now. Look like a lamb, you know, representation of Jesus. The lamb, but it spake as a dragon. Okay? We're going to go look at this dragon, but I'm not going to do it right now because y'all going to laugh. That's going to take y'all off. All right, so go ahead and read, let's read verse 12. And he exercised upon the first beast.
The first beast before him. He caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay, so now this other horn that's going to come, he going to cause them to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. See, now he got some power. See, it ain't just about, you know, the Pope preaching to you now. Now we got somebody, this other horn that's going to roll with him. So now we just going to put next to him, well, we'll wait. We're going to wait till we go to Revelation 13. And then we're going to see what this other horn is. Right now, we just going to read it. Verse 13, and go ahead. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth on the side of men.
That's right, go ahead.
And deceiving them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Right, so they're going to make an image to the beast, and we're going to look at that. But now let's go over to Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. We're going to pick it up at verse 1. Revelation 17 verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read, bro.
And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth among many waters.
So now we're talking about a woman. But it's, I'm going to show the judgment of the great whore that sit upon many waters. He's just talking about, you know, there's a church that sit upon people. And sitting upon nations, languages, and tongues, okay? And they're getting them with this false doctrine. But verse 2, go ahead.
With whom the king of the earth hath committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Okay, so it says, well, he carried me away into in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now remember, we're in Revelations, right? We're at the end of it. The whole beast is composed of together. So we still got the 7 heads, 1, the 4 leopards' heads, which is 5, the bear 6, and then the dragon, number 7. And those are the 10 horns. These 10 horns are going to be in effect at the end, all right? But go ahead and read. During our time. Go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore did thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, which had the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
Okay, so now the beast that was and is not shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, right? Now we down to the last one. Remember, his wound was healed. It was wounded to death, but it was healed. We see, they thought it was dead. That's why I'm saying the beast that was, because at a time Rome was, you know, known as a major power of the world. So it said the beast that was in power and is not, but it's still here. People just don't know about it because they're getting you another way now. But go ahead and read.
And go into perdition.
So the beast that was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. So it's coming back. It's going to ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into destruction and go into perdition. Go ahead and read.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose name were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
So they're going to behold. So it says here, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose name was not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. See, the yet is coming in our time. Okay? And what? Go ahead and read verse 9.
And here is the mind which had wisdom.
Uh-huh.
The 7 heads or 7 mountains on which the woman sits.
Okay, so now the Lord is giving you a geographical location of where this woman is sitting at. It says the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. All right, so let's just look at something right here. I got an encyclopedia we're going to look at. It's the World Book Encyclopedia. And we're going to have a look at, let's go look at Rome. I don't want to read much on it. I'm just going to read where it is. This is real old. I got these free off Free Site. You know, they got all this type of information just sitting out here. You know what I'm saying? And people don't, you know, really care about it. But, you know, all the information is hidden in books. That's why it's important to read. So it says, Rome lies on both banks on the Tiber River in central Italy, 17 miles east of the Tyrrhenian Sea. The city is on about 20 hills, okay? But its outskirts have some wide stretches of flat ground. These hills include the famous 7 hills on which ancient Rome was built. Okay? So the Lord giving you a geographical location and letting you know who you need to watch out for. The Roman Catholic Church of Vatican City sits on 7 hills, sisters and brothers. Alright? So that's all I'm going to read on that for now. Alright, so now, let's go back to verse 10. Go ahead and read.
And there are 7 kings.
And there are 7 kings. Go ahead.
5 are fallen.
Now, pertaining to this last beast, okay? We already knocked off 3, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. It said there are 7 kings, right? 5 are fallen. So at John's time, you know, we got 5 that was gone, and in our time, the 6 is now gone. But he said there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. So we're gonna we just gonna erase them. Right. Okay, thank you. We're gonna erase them, right? Y'all don't need that no more, right? Y'all know that's wrong, right? So we're gonna take down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Now what else it say, brother?
And 1 is.
And 1 is, so that means 1 was still here. Mm-hmm. All right, but now, you know, it's already gone, right? Mm-hmm. Now what else it say?
And the other is not yet come.
And the other one hadn't came yet. This is what we're looking for. This here will make up the 7 right here. So let me put it right here. This here gonna make up the 7, but what it say now?
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Okay, so now, you got these 2 right here, right? You got the religious one and you got the military. Y'all see that? We got the religious power, which is the Pope of Rome. He the one keeping it all, or the papacy, they keeping it all together. See, the military, they ain't in power no more, but religiously they got you in your mind. This is how Rome is staying in power. So now we're waiting on this last one to show up in our time. So we done got rid of the 5. He said 1 yet is. That 1 yet is, it's already done gone now. So now we're waiting on this last one to come. So now we got these 2 horns, right? All right, so we got the 2 horns now. Now, what you got right there? What you got? What it say?
He said, and there are 7 kings, 5 fallen.
Go ahead.
1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and his other 7 go into perdition.
All right, so now, the beast that was, because we got the 7 now, right? But the beast that was and is not, he is also the 8th, because this right here make up the 8th. But he's up the 7th.
That's right.
But he's a different way now. He's religious. All right? So what he gonna do?
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings.
So the 10 horns that we saw are 10 kings out of what?
Which have received no kingdom as of yet.
So we still got the 10 toes around. See, the 10 toes we had in Daniel chapter 2, that's going to be smashed at the end. They're a representation of the 10 kings. So you got the military that's going to rule these 10 kings, and you got the religious man that's going to rule you spiritually. Okay? Y'all got that? Y'all got it? Here, let me just make it clear for you. If you don't have it, let me just put these. Erase this for you. All right, now read that again.
And the 10 horns which I saw of 10 kings,
Okay, so these 10 horns are 10 kings, which what?
which have received no power as
So they don't got no power yet. They working on it right now. They working on putting them together by way of the European Economic Community. They still trying to narrow it down and get it down. But they have not received no power yet. Alright? But what they gonna do?
but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
So they gonna receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Go ahead and read.
These have one mind,
Oh, these have one mind, and what they gonna do?
and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Oh, so they gonna give their strength and power to the beast. See, this is why we saw he had 2 horns like a lamb, right? Because those 2 horns, the 2 horns that were on that lamb were the military king and the religious king. So just in case y'all can't see it, I'm gonna show it to y'all. It's ugly, but I'm gonna show it to you. Alright, so we got 2 horns on the lamb, right? And where they got the power from? The dragon, right? Y'all understand? Alright, so I'm gonna leave that there for y'all. That's the best I can find on the internet. Okay? So they got 2 horns like the lamb, but they got their power from the dragon. And the reason why they're making reference to a lamb, do I need to shut that, bro? Reason why they're making reference to a lamb, because they gonna come, or the Pope gonna come sounding like Jesus, looking like Jesus. That's how the world gonna be deceived. Alright, but where we at, brother?
Verse 14.
Alright, verse 14, go ahead.
These shall make war with the lamb, and the lamb shall overcome them.
So they gonna make war with the lamb. They talking about Jesus. Now these 10 nations gonna fight against Jesus when he returns. And the lamb gonna overcome them, and what else?
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Alright, so now let's go over to Revelation 13. Revelation chapter 13, we're going to pick it up at verse 15. I'm trying to run through it. We're at the end of it now. Revelation chapter 13, and pick this up at verse 15. And you get to go ahead and read, brother.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
So he's going to have power to give life to the image of the beast, the one that we saw. And what else he going to do?
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Okay, so notice what he said. He's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? That no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Go ahead and read. Verse 18.
Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast.
So we got to find out the number of this man, right? Go ahead and read, bro.
For it is the number of a man. And his number is 666.
All right, so we need to find out how we come up with this, or how we going to point to this man whose number is 666, okay? Because it's coming. All right, but we need to find out. Our job is to point it out. So we're going to look at another encyclopedia. All right, so let's see here. We're going to look up Vicar in the World Book Encyclopedia, volume 19. It says Vicar, V-I-C-A-R. Vicar is a person who represents and performs duties for a higher official in a church. The term comes from the Latin word vicarious, meaning a substitute. The Pope of the Roman Catholic Church is called the Vicar of Christ on earth. So he's a substitute or replacement of Christ on earth, right? And notice what it also says before I came. It says the Pope, beginning of it, Vicar is a person who represents or performs duties for a higher official in a church. The highest one of the churches, Jesus. The Lord don't need no man taking his spot. All right, but this is what the vicar does. It's called a replacement of Christ. All right, so now let's go look a little further into this. Now, when you look at, I have it on your handout, and you can see once you take the letters, go into the letters, and I put it on there so y'all can take home and you'll be able to study whatever. but you can go online or go look at the equation for the numbers now. I think it's what the Roman numerals. Yeah, you'll see you'll see how they all add up. And when we put this up, when it comes to this man, vicarious filiae, it means replacement of Christ, and that's the name given to the Pope, or the man that takes that position of the papacy. That's what he's called, the replacement of Christ, and it's called vicarious filiae. And this is how you come up with 666. All right. So now let's go on to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. When you get it, brother, you go ahead and read it.
Now I beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him.
So notice what's on the table. What's on the table is referring to the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and us being gathered unto him. All right, go ahead.
That ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. That no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there comes a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Okay, so we just looking at the coming of the Lord and how this thing is going to fall. But one of the warning signs that you're supposed to have, that the Son of Man has to be revealed, the son of perdition. That's why it says in let no man deceive you by any means, for that day should not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's what's happening right now. It's gonna get to a point where he's gonna be revealed on a major scale, but we slowly chipping away at it. All right, but what? Verse 4, what are you going to do? Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God, sitting in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
And that's what Paul was, Paul is, lining up with what we see in the Old Testament, right? The same thing. So even now today, when you look at it, you think about history, you think about the dynasty being in power now, what's one of the conversations? They want to get a temple built, right? They don't really know where they want a temple, but they saying they want a temple so the Messiah can come. They don't understand that when that temple gets built, this guy coming to sit in that temple. He gonna stop the daily sacrifice. They gonna place the abomination that make desolate, and he gonna go crazy on his word. So just like Paul is letting us know, he gonna sit as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's what he was talking about in this time, letting us know what's gonna take place in our time. So regardless of what people say about the Lord is getting ready to return, he can come tomorrow, all these signs got to come into play before the Lord can return. All right, so now let's go look at something else. Let's go to Luke chapter 21. And I'm actually on a pretty good time because we started at like 12:15, right? Yeah, it's like 12:03, so I'm on a pretty good time. He's talking about sorry. Ain't no need to be sorry. Just get your own time. It's all good. Luke chapter 21, verse 24, bro. Go ahead and read it.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
So now we talking about Israel, them going into captivity. And notice what the Lord is going to say. Because what we're looking at the fall of the Gentile dynasty. We're looking at the end of this dynasty. Its reign coming to an end. So it says they're going to fall by the edge of the sword, talking about Israel going into captivity. They're going to fall by the edge of the sword and shall be what?
Shall be led away captive into all nations.
And that's where we at now. We got led into captivity throughout the whole world. Not just America. Go ahead.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
So Jerusalem going to be trodden down to the Gentiles. The Gentiles has taken Jerusalem. They're going to rule. As long as they're in rulership, Israel going to be in captivity. So it says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down and stamped down by the Gentiles for how long?
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until their time is up. Until their rulership is complete. The same with the Amorites. The same thing going on with the Gentiles. So like I said earlier, we can't try to make plans to come together and try to get out of this. It don't work like that. The Gentiles are rulership no matter what. And when their rulership is over, that's when the Lord returns. So verse 25, what's the sign of it? How we gonna know?
There shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves growing, men hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory.
Oh, so when we see this, that's how you know the Gentile dynasty is over. That's how you know it's over now, once we get to this time. But also, it's also still called Babylon. When we looked at Revelation, they called it Mystery Babylon, right? So we still got Mystery Babylon, or we got the Gentile dynasty is going to be taken down at the coming of the Lord. And he told you what? It's going to be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations. So let's go over to Joel chapter 3. We're going to, yeah, that's it. Let's go over to Joel chapter 3. We got one more place after this. Joel 3. We're going to pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem.
So now we're looking at, we got to find out what time frame this is now. Because it says in those days and that time when he's going to bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. In other words, he's going to, set Israel free from captivity. Judah and Jerusalem, they're not going to be separated like they are. They're going to be all brought back together. And he's going to do what?
I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So all the nations got to come down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat means Jehovah will judge. All right, so that's what's going to take place. The Lord going to judge the nations. But this is also during the time when he getting ready to let Israel bring Israel out of captivity. Go ahead.
And will plead with them there for my people.
So he going to plead with them there for his people. And what else?
And for my heritage Israel.
And for his heritage Israel. And what else?
Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted by land.
That's right. Go ahead.
And they have cast lots for my people. And have given a boy for an harlot.
So the Lord kind of mad about that. Every time, every year we get around September 11th, they have this memorial, about the towers being dropped in 2001. They all come together and they do whatever they do. But anytime it comes to Israel, remember what happened to us, they say forget about it, right? Don't even worry about it, let it go, right? Well, y'all need to tell Jesus that. Because he said he coming back, he gonna deal with you because you part of my land and for my people and my heritage Israel. Y'all cast lots for my people, you giving a boy for a harlot, you sold a girl for wine that they might drink. So the Lord upset about this, right? Even at his return, thousands of years later. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Ain't nothing you can do. You can't buy your way out of this. It's going to happen. Regardless of what you try to do, it's too late. The Lord got to get it up out of you. Verse 5, and go ahead.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold.
Wait a minute, because you what?
Have taken my silver and my gold.
So even when Nebuchadnezzar came down there, remember we was reading in Jeremiah, he told Zedekiah, don't listen to the prophets tell you that the vessel's coming back, right? He said, because them vessels going off and they not going to come back until I get back. But now the Lord is saying what? Because you have did what? Read that again.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things.
So the Lord is even mad about that at his return. Go ahead and read.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders.
So what nation is a nation of people that was sold to the Greeks? This nation right here, right? This is who they were sold to. And then we know we came along around this time, we up under this dynasty, we up under this part of this kingdom, this dynasty, and we still in captivity, right? But the Lord is making an effort to show you that I'm going to get you for selling my people to those Grecians. See, this is why people don't want to deal with the Old Testament. They rather deal with the New Testament and stay away from the slavery and the captivity and all that type of stuff. But this is the best book in the world. Especially when it comes to us as the people trying to find out who we are. And then on top of that, it also tells you what you got to do to save yourself from the lake of fire. All right, but go ahead and read, brother.
Behold, I will raise them out of the place where ye have sold them.
So he gonna raise them out of the place where ye have sold them. We're not talking about a few Chinese here, you know, a few Indians that were sold here. You know, because people like to say that. They like to say, well, y'all ain't the only ones that were sold. No, we were not the only ones that were sold. But we the only ones that were sold as a whole nation. Like people that might have been sold, like you might have had a few Chinese sold, but still, guess what? They got the land is still called China. That's right. They still can go back to China. Japanese, same thing. Even with all the war that took place with American and Japanese. They gave their reparations and stuff like that, but can we still find a land on the map called Japan? Because they can go back to Japan. But it was one nation that was scattered throughout the whole world in the captivity. The land's still in existence, but they done wiped that out of history completely. So this is who the Lord is making reference to when he says, behold, I will raise them out of the place where ye have sold them and return your recompense upon your own head. So now we're going to skip down to verse 9, but if you read verse 8, he said, I'm going to sell your sons and daughters also into the hand of the children of Judah. But go ahead and read verse 9. Who you need to go make this announcement to? Go ahead and read.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles.
Oh, so you need to go tell this to the Gentiles. Because the Gentiles are still in power. And everybody that try to mingle with them, they're going to fall up under that banner. But the Gentiles in rulership. They came in rulership all the way here. They're going to be in rulership all the way to the coming of the Lord. When he come down and break this feet. And this is when this kingdom going to fall. So he said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, do what?
Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Be your plowshare.
Verse 12.
Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
That's right, go ahead.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The vats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is there in the valley of decision.
That's right, go ahead.
The sun and the moon shall be darkened.
Oh, so the sun and the moon gonna be darkened. Go ahead.
And the stars shall withdraw their shine.
So didn't we just see that in St. Luke chapter 21? The same thing gonna happen, letting you know this is the end of the Gentile dynasty, sisters and brothers. But right now we still up under it, but it's not gonna end until the Lord get back. But we seeing the signs of how it's gonna take place. He said the sun and the moon shall be darkened and the stars shall withdraw their shine. And what the Lord gonna do? Verse 16.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. For the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel.
All right, so now let's go into Revelation chapter 18. This is the last place. Revelation chapter 18. Revelation 18, and go and pick up that verse 1.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. And
now, why are we still looking at Babylon in the end? You know, we're at the end of the book, and we still see Babylon because, you know, just because this top kingdom was called Babylon, there's another place in the Bible when Cyrus came into power, and they called Cyrus the king of Babylon. I can't remember it off the top, but we know Cyrus, you know, was over the Medo-Persian Empire. But in the place when Cyrus, somewhere in the Bible, I can't remember where it's at. You know, they called Cyrus the king of Babylon because what's happening here, Babylon is just being passed down. That's all it's doing. That's why in Revelation they call it Mystery Babylon. And that's why when we look at Revelation 18 right now, it's saying he cried mightily with a strong voice saying what? Babylon the great is fallen. Go ahead.
It's fallen. It's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
That's right, go ahead.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
That's why she the mother of harlots. That's why she Mystery Babylon, but all the nations done drunk of it. You know, whether it be commerce and trade on the physical sense, or whether it be commerce and trade spiritually, they done did. And they all had a hand in, taking out Israel. That's why you look around today, look in your neighborhoods, and you're going to see that there's other people that come in, don't look like Israel, but they can set up shops in the nations of Israel and get rich. Because all of them had a hand in it. But the Lord see that. So it said, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Verse 4.
And I heard another voice.
I'm sorry, skip down to verse 7.
How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her.
That's right, because you lived it up, so now you got to pay. Go ahead.
But she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
And she ain't got nothing to do with Jesus, but this is why she thinks she the church. She said the queen and am no widow, feel like they can just continue to live like they live, but the Lord is going to take them out. But notice how he's going to do it. Verse 8.
Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire.
That's right.
For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
That's right. Skip down to verse 16. We wrap it up. Verse 16, go ahead.
And saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple, and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
See, remember that now. You go back to Revelation 17, and they gave you this description of this woman, the mother harlot. This is how she looked. See, they called her, the mother harlot, but we also see that as Mystery Babylon. And now at the end, in Revelation, the Lord get back, now he's bringing it all down, sister. So it says, saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet. And these are the colors of that church. Just look it up, you'll see. And scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. And they got the money, they got the power. Go ahead and read, verse 17.
For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city?
That's why you go back when we started off in Jeremiah, it said that this kingdom is going to be in power, and at the end, the other nations going to serve themselves of her. And this is what's happening at the end. They, this all falling down, all coming to an end, and they sitting back looking and stuff like that. But go ahead and read, verse 18.
And they cast dust.
I'm sorry, verse 19.
And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her closeness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate.
That's right. So they said, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. Verse 20, last verse.
Rejoice over her, thy heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her.
Right, so the Lord coming back and he's going to deal with all this, but when the Lord returns, he brings Babylon down. At least in Daniel Revelation, I hope somebody got some understanding. Jesus' name.
But you'll never find